And now I want to go to a question from the audience. This is a little Ask Me Anything. Somebody asked, what are the major transits I should look for when doing something major in my life, like moving or starting a business? Love this question. Okay, there are a couple of things that you want to look for. One, you want to look at the house that connects with the thing you're trying to do. So if you're moving, you want to look at your fourth house and see what sign is in your fourth house and see if there's any major transits that are happening. Like often we don't have total control about when we're moving, but anytime I've moved, I've tracked that it goes along with a major signature that's happening either in my fourth house of home and moving and family and all of that, or to the ruler of that house. So you want to know what planet rules the house that is connected to the topic you want to know about. So say you are Leo rising. By whole sign houses, Scorpio would be your fourth house of home and family. So you could see if something major was happening in Scorpio to know like when or if you're going to move. But more often than not, that's probably not going to be a thing that's going on. Like once a year, you'll have a new moon there. Once a year, you'll have a full moon there. Of course, Venus and, other quicker moving planets like the Sun and Mercury will move through there, but that won't necessarily signify a move. But what you can do is then look to the planet that rules Scorpio, if nothing major is happening in that house. And the planet that rules Scorpio in the traditional system is Mars. So you look at Mars, see where is my Mars? It's going to tell me about house and home and see if that planet is having any major transit that's happening to it. And you can go into the Chani app and look under transits and look and see if anything is happening to the ruler, the planet that rules the house that relates to the topic you want to know about. So in terms of like opening up a new business, you want to think about what you want out of the business. Do you want it to make money? I mean, most of us do. Do you want it to catapult you to fame? That's not a thing that most people should want, but maybe a lot of people want that. Do you want it to be something that's enduring and long lasting? Do you want it to be something like, what is it that you want for the business? If you want to think about money, you look to your second house. If you want to think about your career and your status in the world and what you're known for, you want to think about 10th house. If you want to think about how to like run a business and the function of a business and how to work with the assets that you have, the tools that you have, how to do the like grunt work of the business, you look to the 6th house, like how to do the ins and outs of the business, how to do the schedule of the business, how to do the machinery of the business. I would look more to the 6th house. And so you'd look to see if there's anything major that's going into any of those houses and also the rulers of those houses. So say you're thinking about a career change this year, and let's say you just so happen to be a Virgo rising. Well, it just so happens that Uranus, the planet of change and upheaval and moving things around, is going to enter your 10th house of what you're known for, your reputation. Also related to career and like what you do out in the world publicly. Whether you get paid for it or not doesn't matter. There's something about reputation that gets changed up, that something is different for Virgo risings come about July of 2025. Again, you can look in the yearbook, the Chani 2025 yearbook for all of this. It'll tell you, if you look at Virgo rising, it'll tell you about what that transit's going to do for you. But you'd look to see then and be like, oh, it makes sense that I'm like itching for something new. Or if the ruler of your 10th house, say, is at 0 degrees of Gemini or 0 degrees of Virgo or 0 degrees of Sag or Pisces, then you know that around July, it's going to get some kind of major hard aspect from Uranus, and it's going to make you want to change something up. So there's a lot of different ways of looking at this, and there's a lot of different ways of thinking about, what is it? Is it a change that's coming? Is it that I need to get more serious about something? So Saturn's going to move into Aries come the end of May. And that's going to be very impactful for all cardinal signs or any place in your chart that is a cardinal house. So Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Those houses are going to be given a kind of like, okay, tick-tock, you're serious about this? Then get to work, do the thing. I want a timetable. I want a schedule. I want you to commit kind of vibe. And then any part of your chart that contains Cancer, once we're done with this Mars retrograde, is going to get this beautiful moment, year-long moment with Jupiter. So say you're a Gemini rising and your second house is Cancer. Well, come June and for 12 months from 2025 to 2026, there's something really nice happening for you financially. Maybe it was really tough in the beginning of the year, in the beginning of 2025, but it's going to shift. It's going to open up and there's going to be a great flow there. So you want to think again about the ways in which the houses work. I did a video on the houses a couple of weeks ago. You can look it up on YouTube. But you want to think about the way the houses work and think about how these major planetary shifts are going to be impacting those areas of your life. And so house by house by house, how are they going to be impacted? And then you also want to think about the rulers of those houses, the planets that are in charge of that area of your life. And because there's so many planets changing signs, going back and forth, like going into new sign and then coming out and then going back in, any planet that you have at the very end of a sign or the very beginning of a sign is most likely going to be impacted this year. And therefore, what that planet stands for and the houses or the house that it rules is going to be also very impacted. So you want to think about like planets probably between 27, 28 degrees of the end of a sign and like 0, 1, 2, couple first degrees of a sign. Any of those planets that you have, end of a sign, beginning of a sign, are going to probably go through some sort of major shift because Saturn is changing signs, Neptune is changing signs, Uranus is changing signs, Pluto has just changed signs, and then Jupiter's going to change signs. So any of those planets that are caught in the midst of that, and those are a lot of planets to change signs, so there's a lot of signs. And then if you think of the fact that it's not just planets in those exact signs, but planets in any sign that's connected to those signs in any kind of major way, especially by opposition or square, is going to be majorly impacted. So all of the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, you're going to get a transit by both Neptune and Saturn. Any of the mutable signs, so we think about Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces, you're going to get connected to that Uranus entering Gemini for that midsection of the year. And then any planets that you got in fixed signs, so we've covered the modalities, any planets that you got in fixed signs, so we've got Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio at that like 0, 1, 2, 3 degree of those fixed signs is getting a major moment with Pluto. So those planets are getting a major moment, and then the houses that they rule are getting a major moment. So again, in the Chani app, we'll talk about, if you go into the transit section, it'll tell you what transits you're in. And then in the 2025 yearbook, you can read about generally what it means for the house and the topic that house rules, what that means for your life. And then here on the week ahead, we'll go through it week by week in a general sense. All right, y'all. That's the read. That's the episode. Keep sending in the questions. Let me know if the way I'm answering them is helpful. I can always do also like a chart example. We can also go through stuff on Down to Astro. Do you follow Down to Astro? We have a whole other podcast. It's me, Thea Anderson, and Eliza Robertson. We talk about the astrology and the world we live in and how the two match each other, how one reflects the other, and how we're all going to get through this situation together. It's more than just me talking, which is really helpful, I think, for all of us. All right. I'm sending you a lot of love. May this pivot be one that is so fierce and so strong and so undeniable and such a rally cry for all of us.